here.
Jermaine Carter stepping into the center circle for Midwestern State, and he will be jumping against Connor Slater, who is a 6'6 junior from Elgin, Oklahoma, and it's Fort Smith who wins the tip. Cameron Bush has it in the backcourt and passes left on the wing for Slater. Slater gives the ball to Peyton Brown. We'll talk a lot about him tonight. He is the LSC's leading scorer with more than 20 points a game. They get the ball inside to Jackson Ingram. The 240-pound sophomore has his shot blocked by Hamilton. A scramble, and it's Derek Ogechi who comes away with it for the Mustangs as Midwestern State goes north to south. Ogechi up the left side gets the ball to the inside for Jermaine Carter, out to Ogechi. Ogechi finds Hamilton for a three-pointer that's on target.
And that's one of those, hopefully, streaks that Luke can get on and really get the Mustangs off to a good start.
Bush out of the backcourt up the right side with a right-hand dribble, guarded by Pierre Sanders. Bush takes it to the foul line, throws outside to Slater. Moving into the lane is Bush. Bounce pass inside to Ingram. Outside to Bush. Floater on the way, no good. Got his own rebound. Bush trapped under the goal, loses it. Stolen by Hamilton, who gives to Sanders. Sent left to Davison. Davison to the foul line. Throws out right to Ogechi. A three-pointer, no good. Grabbing the rebound is Ingram. Coming up the middle of the floor is Bush. Picked up by Sanders at half court. Pass right to Slater. Dribble handoff to Evan Anderson, a 6'4 junior from Carrollton. Went to Hebron High School in the Metroplex. Bush has it between the circles. Ingram sets the screen. Bush gets the pass. Up top to Anderson, who sends it right. The three-pointer on the way. No good for Slater.
I may be wrong, but I don't even think Brown has touched the ball yet.
3-0 Midwestern State. Yeah, I think he had one touch, but hasn't shot yet, which is somewhat surprising.
And that's good. The Mustangs can keep the ball out of his hands, the better off they're going to be.
Ogechi has it high on the right wing, delivers a bounce pass to Carter. Carter double-teamed. An entry pass stolen by Bush. Bush comes up the left sideline, gets across half court. Pass goes right to Anderson. Left to Brown, to Bush. Here's Brown. Eyes the rim. Gets the pass into the paint, then down low to Ingram. And Ingram is tied up for possession. It's a jump ball, and the arrow favors Midwestern State.
You know, one of the things that may be a little disconcerting to Brown is the fact that obviously the Mustangs are running at zone. And so those screens that apparently they set a lot of times against man-to-man defenses aren't going to be as readily available.
Pierre Sanders comes out of the backcourt for Midwestern State, delivers a bounce pass to Hamilton. Ogechi's open in the left corner. Three-pointer is up, no good. Ingram rebounds for Fort Smith. Ingram gets to Anderson. Anderson drives in, throws to the left corner for Brown. Or pardon me, that's Slater on the left side. Now Brown has it in the left front court. Between the circles to Bush. Slater at the foul line receives it. Back to Bush. Bush into the paint, stripped. Davison comes away with it. Davison driving in and scoring for Midwestern State. Davison has his first 2 points, and the Mustangs lead 5-0. We've played 3.5 minutes. Slater in the right front court, guarded by Davison. Bounce pass. Back out to Bush, to Brown on the left wing. Brown with a bounce pass to Slater. 10-foot floater will not fall. Ingram rebounds and scores with the putback, scoring with the right hand from under the goal.
Well, you know, the Mustangs are doing a good job of defending Brown, and that high post shot is open for the opposition for Arkansas Fort Smith, but they don't seem very comfortable shooting it.
Sanders lines one off the back rim. Rebounded by Bush. Bush comes up the right side. Gets it to Anderson. Bush takes it left. Slater between the circles, right to Bush. To the right wing for Brown. The entry pass. Slater has it. Out to Bush, 3 on the shot clock. Bush will have to shoot a three-pointer. No good. Jermaine Carter pulls down the rebound for Midwestern State. Sanders comes up the middle of the floor with a left-hand dribble. Sanders throws an overhead pass to the left wing. Davison shoots from there off the front rim. No good. Slater grabs the rebound for Fort Smith. Gives to Bush in the backcourt. Midwestern State up 5-2. We're nearly 5 minutes into this contest. Slater has it in the left front court. To Bush. Right to Anderson. Anderson one dribble. Cross court to Brown. To Slater. To Bush in the left front court on the Gerald Stockton Court logo. Guarded by Pierre Sanders. Pass to Slater, guarded by Davison. Feeds it to Ingram at the foul line. Ingram gets underneath Hamilton and scores with the right hand.
That's the weak part of the zone. Luke needs to stay on the ground, make sure that the opposition shoots over the top of him.
Fort Smith within one. Midwestern State has the ball, leading 5-4 with 14.5 minutes to play. We've not had a dead ball. Sanders moving to the baseline, circles back out, finds Hamilton, who gives to Carter, top the key. Carter faces the basket at the foul line, moving in, gets his arm grabbed. That'll stop the clock with 14:16 to play. Midwestern State with a 5-4 lead. We're early at Lincoln Coliseum. This is Midwestern paint. They've also got 2 second chance points. Midwestern State 2 of 6, Fort Smith 2 of 9. That's a pretty good defensive battle right now.
Yeah, I like the fact that the Mustangs are making Jackson Ingram be a scorer instead of a screener. I think the longer that goes, the better off they'll be.
Hamilton knocking down a right wing three-pointer. He's got 2 3-pointers early on, and the Mustangs lead 8-4. Bush bounces it ahead to Cadeau de Dio. Cadeau de Dio shooting over Hamilton. That is no good. The ball gets punched out to Brown on the right sideline, and it's back out to the perimeter, and a left side three-pointer is good. Cadeau de Dio hits the three-pointer, bringing Fort Smith within one of MSU. Midwestern State has the ball. Mason Gibson on the right wing gives to Sanders at the top of the arc. Overhead pass received by Uyghur in the paint. Uyghur's going to lob it back out to Sanders on the left wing. 7 on the shot clock. Uyghur has it at the top of the arc. Drives in. Off the glass. No good. Going up to get the rebound is David Akizi, a 6'7 senior from Houston. Anderson's into the front court. Pass to Bush. Defended by Uyghur. Anderson directing traffic as he's picked up by Gibson. Pass to Bush, defended by Uyghur on the right wing. Back to Anderson, to Bush, thinking about a three. Pass on the right baseline, received by Akizi. Akizi guarded by Sanders. Backing into the lane. A head fake and a shot. Sanders fouled him. They'll count the basket. It's an and one. Pierre Sanders picks up his first. That's the first on Midwestern State. The first 2 points for Akizi. Duncan Olivak is coming into the game. Ogechi and Davison returning. Carter and Hamilton getting a breather along with Sanders. So David Akizi at the free throw line, making his 17th appearance. 62% free throw shooter. Knocks down his first free throw of this game, completing a 3-point play and giving Fort Smith a 10-8 lead. They're on a 6-0 run.
Yeah, and I think the coach made some substitutions to get some guys into the high post that are a little bit more comfortable shooting. Because, again, Brown, averaging 20 points a game, still hasn't gotten a shot up.
Uyghur has it on the right side for Midwestern State. A left-hand dribble into the lane. A throw to the left corner received by Davison. Out to Ogechi. A head fake and a drive. He shoots over Anderson and scores off the glass. So Derek Ogechi gets his first 2 points and ties the game at 10. We're nearly 8 minutes into the first half. The left wing three-pointer, Anderson misfires. Akizi rebounds underneath. He's unable to get the putback, and Uyghur grabs it for Midwestern State and will bring it up the middle of the floor. Uyghur to the top of the arc, a left-hand dribble. Moves into the lane, throws out to the right wing for Davison. Davison to the foul line, turns his back to the defender, head fake and a throw to the right corner. Uyghur moves up along the baseline, cut off by Brown. Uyghur muscling his way toward the goal, misses, and Brown pulls down the rebound. Brown has been averaging only 2.5 rebounds a game for Fort Smith. Anderson has the ball to the right sideline. Gets it to Courtney Morrell, who's coming to the game, and he bounces it to Brown. Overhead pass to Anderson, a bounce pass down low, and Duncan Olivak blocks a shot.
Great play by
Midwestern State.
Great play by Olivak.
Mason Gibson misses the three-pointer from the left corner. Davison dives on the floor and is tied up for possession. It's a jump ball, and the arrow favors UAFS.
Even though we didn't get the ball, what a great hustle play by Davison. He's way away from that ball and just gave up his body to jump.
Play Midwestern State. It is a 10-10 tie with Arkansas Fort Smith, and today's broadcast is brought to you in part by Bud Light, Market Street, and Union Square Credit Union. Fort Smith with the ball going the length of the floor in the Navy jerseys, moving south to north. As pushing the ball up is Morrell, who's come into the game for Fort Smith, and he gives to Anderson, guarded by Gibson. Anderson throws to Brown on the right wing. Out to Anderson for a three-pointer that's good. And Fort Smith is up by 3 now, 13-10. Davison crosses half court. Now accelerates, driving to the basket. Davison scores. Davison's got 4 points. Midwestern State to within 1, down 13-12.
Yeah, and I love Davison getting in there, getting those high percentage shots. You know, an off-the-glass 5-footer, not much better than that.
Morrell guarded by Gibson, bounces it to the left wing, and a three-pointer for Brown is off the mark wide right. Ingram with the rebound, but the putback is blocked by Olivak, and coming away with the ball is Gibson, the outlet to Ogechi. To Gibson up top. Handed off to Davison. To Ogechi. Fakes a three, bounces it to Uyghur on the right sideline. Uyghur moving into the paint, feeds Gibson, he's fouled. I thought he was going to score with the left hand, and it circles around the rim and out.
Yeah, great feed by Uyghur. On the other end, I think it's interesting. I'm always fascinated by the kind of the psyche of players. Here you've got Brown, a guy who's averaging 20 points a game. The Mustangs are running a zone, so he's not getting those looks. Is he going to be patient enough to just be a team player and pass the ball, or is he going to just start jacking up indiscriminate threes?
Gibson hits the free throw that ties the game at 13. As Sanders, Carter, and Hamilton are coming back into the game for Midwestern State. Sanders is going to be coming in for Gibson, so he'll have to wait. Carter will replace Uyghur. Olivak has come out as Hamilton returned to the floor for Justin Leslie and Midwestern State. It's a good coaching matchup with Justin Leslie and Jim Boone. The Gibson free throw is out. Boone is within. He needs 2 more wins to get to 600 for his career.
He has seen a lot in that amount of time. Holy cow.
I think 37th year as a head coach.
Wow.
From the right corner, Anderson is guarded by Davison. Goes back to Brown. Brown driving in from the left wing. Puts up a shot that's good. Brown is a scorer.
And you can see that on that play. I mean, Jermaine did a good job of staying in front of him. It was a nice step-back shot. You just got to make him work for his points.
That's the first 2 points for Brown, and it gives Fort Smith a 15-13 lead. Davison driving in, trying to feed Gibson, who lost it out of bounds. Brown went to Waldron High School in Arkansas, one of the most decorated high school careers in the history of that state. Finished his high school career with 2,775 points, averaging over 31 points a game in high school. Had a career high 60 points that beat the previous record at Waldron, held by his father, Jason Brown. He was a 3-time All-State guard in the state of Arkansas. Playing at Fort Smith now, feeding the ball into Slater for Ingram, who missed with the right hand, and Jermaine Carter's got the rebound.
I really like the Mustangs making Ingram be a scorer and not a screener.
To Davison, who throws it out to Ogechi, a three-pointer on the way, no good. Ingram, a rebounder here, handing the ball off to Anderson. Fort Smith leads by 2 with 8:24 to play. Lions 15, Mustangs 13. Anderson To the left corner for Brown, who drives the baseline, shoots over Hamilton, misses wide left. Ingram trying to bounce it off Carter. Does so, and with 8 seconds on the shot clock, Fort Smith will be inbounding from the left baseline.
Again, that's not a bad defensive play by the Mustangs, making Brown put the ball on the floor. He'd rather just catch it and shoot it clearly, or maybe one dribble. He doesn't want to go to the basket.
Midwestern without a field goal for nearly 2.5 minutes. Down by 2 with 8:08 to play. Fort Smith up 15-13. Inbounding the ball to Slater, but it's knocked away by Carter in the corner on the left side out of bounds. Fort Smith will have to inbound again with 7 on the shot clock. Anderson to trigger it in. To Morrell. Brown has it. A long 3 over Sanders. Good. Oh, my goodness.
That's a big-time shot. Pierre did a nice job. Just, can try to contain him, put your hand up. He's not going to make all of them from out there.
With the shot clock winding down, a downtown three-pointer gives Fort Smith an 18-13 lead. 7:45 to play here in the half. Sanders to Hamilton to Carter. Carter in the lane, gets underneath Ingram and scores as he pitches it up with the left hand off the glass. Carter's got his first 2 points of the game.
We had an OSID that would call that move crafty.
Midwestern State did not have a field goal for more than 2.5 minutes before Carter banks in a pair to bring Midwestern State to within 3. Traveling called against Morrell at half court as he's guarded by Gibson. And Midwestern State will have the ball with 7:21 to play, trailing Arkansas Fort Smith. 8. We've got the Greater Texas Ford Dealers halftime show coming up. Be sure to stay with us for that on the Lone Star Conference Digital Network. Midwestern State is trailing Fort Smith 18-15 with 7:21 to play. And the Mustangs have the ball with Pierre Sanders dribbling in the right front court. Takes it to the top of the arc, a lob, and Jermaine Carter leaps up and tips it in.
That was an amazing play. The Arkansas Fort Smith defender was in position, but Jermaine just went over the top of him.
Fort Smith leading by 1, up 18-17. Lions have the ball. Bush, guarded by Gibson. Gets it to Anderson, defended by Sanders at the center circle. Back to Bush in the right wing. Bush sends it to the top of the arc. Pass goes inside to Akizi, who rolls one in over the front rim to give Fort Smith a 20-17 lead.
Akizi is shooting just a ridiculous 75% from the floor, so clearly he can finish down there. That's for the season, not this game.
Carter drives under the basket, throws out to Gibson. Mason Gibson buries a left wing three-pointer and ties the game. Clearly we got a good one tonight, 20-20 with 6:12 to play. Bush defended by Gibson in the center circle. Passes the ball to the right elbow, then it's sent back out to Anderson on the left wing to Bush. Bush with a bounce pass received by Akizi to Anderson, back to Bush. Bush shooting a 3, no good. Battle for the rebound. Pierre Sanders comes away with it from Midwestern State. Sanders drives to the top of the arc, goes left to the baseline, under the basket, throws outside to Hamilton, but Sanders stepped out of bounds on the baseline under the goal. It's turned over to Arkansas Fort Smith. Duncan Olivak and Marquise Davidson coming in for Hamilton and Ogechi.
One of the things that's concerning, if you look at the stat sheets, Arkansas Fort Smith has 7 offensive rebounds. The Mustangs have 0. When they get those offensive rebounds, that's basically an extra possession. That's one of the reasons they're able to stay in this game, despite shooting poorly.
Midwestern State's made their last 3 shots from the field, but it's Fort Smith with the ball with 5:25 to play in the half in a 20-20 tie. Bush driving in on Davison. Olivak keeps him from shooting. It's bounced back out to Bush. Carter had the steal and then loused the ball.
I think he was going to figure out what kind of dunk he was going to do, and it distracted him and he lost it out of bounds.
So Bush will inbound near half court with 5:15 to play. They put 20 on the shot clock. Entering the game for Arkansas Fort Smith is Daryl McElrath. He'll replace Cadeau De Dio. Bush guarded by Gibson is across half court, takes it to the left side of the floor. Sends it cross court to Anderson, guarded by Davison. Anderson left-hand dribble, driving in, shoots with the right hand, overshoots the goal. Akizi is there and has the putback over the 6'10" Olivak, and you can see why he shoots 75%. Everything's from 2 feet in.
Well, he's a smart player. He knows what his strength is, and he's not taking long shots. He's played very, very well so far.
He's given Fort Smith a 22-20 lead with his 7th point. Midwestern State has the ball with 4:40 to play in the half. Pierre Sanders starts to drive in, kicks it out to Carter. Carter will shoot from 15 feet out and score! Jermaine Carter now with 6 points, and we're tied at 22. Fort Smith with the basketball. Tied for the 4th time today. We've had one lead change. 4:14 to play, knotted at 22. Fort Smith with the basketball. Down low inside, Bush gets the layup. Bush receiving a bounce pass from Akizi, who gets the assist. Bush has his first 2 points, and it's a 2-point lead for the Lions, up 24-22. Sanders, guarded by Bush, takes it to the right side of the floor. Starts to drive in, loses the handle, grabbed by Jermaine Carter. Carter at the top of the key. Hands off to Gibson for a left wing 3-pointer. No good, off the back iron. Pulling down the rebound is Anderson. Gives to Bush, back to Anderson. Anderson walking out of the backcourt with a right-hand dribble. Picked up by Sanders. Pass goes left to Bush in the front court. Defended by Davison. Finds Brown between the circles. Right to Anderson. Cross court to Bush. Bush with a bounce pass. Received by Akizi. Feeds Bush. Stuck in the lane. Kicks it back out to Anderson. To Brown. His left angle 3-pointer is on target.
Yeah, the Mustangs cannot lose Brown. I mean, you've got to know where he is at every second. Otherwise, you're just basically giving up points.
He's got 8 now, and Fort Smith leads by 5. Up 27-22. Mustangs have the ball with less than 3 minutes to play in the half. Davison moving into the lane, muscles his way toward the basket, and gets stripped by Anderson, who's got the steal and gives to Bush, who will be picked up by Gibson as he comes out of the back court. The pass goes to Anderson. Davison defends. Anderson drives in. Feeds it down low. Akizi is covered, and swatting it away is Duncan Olivak. That'll stop the clock with 2:29 to play. We're late in the first half at Lincoln Coliseum. It's Fort Smith 27, Midwestern. From the corner along the sideline opposite the Midwestern State bench. Slight delay before play resumes. Now Anderson's ready to get it inbounded for the Lions, who lead 27-22 with 2:29 to play in the first half. Brown receives the inbounds pass and gets it to Bush, who moves in on Uyghur. Bush lost the ball but got it back. Pitch to Brown, right wing 3-pointer, no good. Jermaine Carter battling for the rebound, but getting it for Arkansas Fort Smith is McElrath, and he scores. He's got his first 2 points.
And that's 12 second chance points that the Fort Smith has got in this game.
And how many for Midwestern State?
0.
Mustangs have the ball. Trailing by 7. Jermaine Carter's wide open under the basket. Gets the pass from Hamilton for an easy deuce. And that ends a scoring drought of nearly 2.5 minutes for the Mustangs, who are down by 5, trailing 29-24. Bush will bring it up for Fort Smith. Sanders defending. Pass to McElrath at the free throw line, shooting over Hamilton. The shot is no good. Hamilton rebounds. Sanders has it. Mustangs down by 5 with the ball. 1:24 to play in the half. Dribble handoff to Hamilton. Back to Sanders. Top of the arc. Gives to Carter. Bush ties him up for possession. And the possession arrow favors Midwestern State with 1:17 to play in the half. Marquise Davison coming into the game for the Mustangs. John Uyghur checks out of the game. Hamilton will be the one to inbound it at the hash mark opposite the Fort Smith bench. (18) on the shot clock. Hamilton getting it inbounded. to Pierre Sanders. At the top of the arc, pass to Hamilton in the right corner. Bounce pass to Carter. Carter down low on the right baseline. Moving into the lane, shooting with the left hand, no good. Fighting for the rebound, knocked it out of bounds. It belongs to Fort Smith with 64 seconds remaining. The Mustangs are down 5, trailing 29-24. Bush gets it across half court. Anderson has it on the left wing, delivers a bounce pass to McElrath, who feeds a Kesey, rolls one over the flange, got his own rebound, then lost it, and Pierre Sanders picks it up for Midwestern State. Gets it to Luke Hamilton. Here's a three-pointer, straight through the net. Luke Hamilton has 9 points. Midwestern facing a 2-point deficit in the final half minute of the first half.
It's sure good to see Luke making a few shots in a row. That's key.
Anderson going to call timeout as he gets into the front court, stopping the clock with 24 seconds to play. We're in the first half. Fort Smith leads 29-27, and Luke Hamilton.
Shots and fewer rebounds to be had. They look to me like a strong rebounding team, despite what the statistics seem to suggest.
Anderson will inbound at the hash mark in front of the Midwestern State bench. Fort Smith has the ball with 23 seconds to play. Fort Smith leading by 2. Bush takes the ball to the left front court. Near the center stripe, guarded by Davison. Been at the waist, dribbling with the right hand. Turns his back to the defender, Davison. Time running out, 7 seconds left. Bush drives in, scores. With 3 seconds to play. Sanders gets to half court, shoots. Wide right at the horn. Bush ends the first half with 4 points and gives Fort Smith a 4-point lead. It's the Lions 31 in Midwestern here. Jermaine Carter stepping into the center circle for Midwestern State, and he will be jumping against Connor Slater, who is a 6'6 junior from Elgin, Oklahoma. And it's Fort Smith who wins the tip. Cameron Bush has it in the back court and passes left on the wing for Slater. Slater gives the ball to Peyton Brown. We'll talk a lot about him tonight. He is the LSC's leading scorer with more than 20 points a game. They get the ball inside to Jackson Ingram. The 240-pound sophomore has his shot blocked by Hamilton. A scramble, and it's Derek Ogechi who comes away with it for the Mustangs as Midwestern State goes north to south. Ogechi up the left side gets the ball to the inside for Jermaine Carter, out to Ogechi. Ogechi finds Hamilton for a three-pointer that's on target.
And that's one of those, hopefully, streaks that Luke can get on and really get the Mustangs off to a good start.
Bush out of the back court up the right side with a right-hand dribble, guarded by Pierre Sanders. Bush takes it to the foul line, throws outside to Slater. Moving into the lane is Bush. Bounce pass inside to Ingram. Outside to Bush. Floater on the way, no good. Got his own rebound. Bush trapped under the goal, loses it. Stolen by Hamilton, who gives to Sanders. Sent left to Davison. Davison to the foul line. Throws out right to Ogechi. A three-pointer, no good. Grabbing the rebound is Ingram. Coming up the middle of the floor is Bush. Picked up by Sanders at half court. Pass right to Slater. Dribble handoff to Evan Anderson, a 6'4 junior from Carrollton, went to Hebron High School in the Metroplex. Bush has it between the circles. Ingram sets the screen. Bush gets the pass up top to Anderson, who sends it right. The three-pointer on the way, no good for Slater.
I may be wrong, but I don't even think Brown has touched the ball yet.
3-0 Midwestern State. Yeah, I think he had one touch, but hasn't shot yet, which is somewhat surprising.
And that's good. The Mustangs can keep the ball out of his hands, the better off they're going to be.
Ogechi has it high on the right wing, delivers a bounce pass to Carter. Carter double-teamed. An entry pass stolen by Bush. Bush comes up the left sideline, gets across half court. Pass goes right to Anderson. Left to Brown, to Bush. Here's Brown. Eyes the rim. Gets the pass into the paint, then down low to Ingram. And Ingram is tied up for possession. It's a jump ball, and the arrow favors Midwestern State.
You know, one of the things that may be a little disconcerting to Brown is the fact that obviously the Mustangs are running at zone. And so those screens that apparently they set a lot of times against man-to-man defenses aren't going to be as readily available.
Pierre Sanders comes out of the back court for Midwestern State, delivers a bounce pass to Hamilton. Ogechi's open in the left corner. Three-pointer is up, no good. Ingram rebounds for Fort Smith. Ingram gets to Anderson. Anderson drives in, throws to the left corner for Brown. That's Slater on the left side. Now Brown has it in the left front court. Between the circles to Bush. Slater at the foul line receives it. Back to Bush. Bush into the paint, stripped. Davison comes away with it. Davison driving in and scoring for Midwestern State. Davison has his first 2 points, and the Mustangs lead 5-0. We've played 3.5 minutes. Slater in the right front court, guarded by Davison. Bounce pass. Back out to Bush, to Brown on the left wing. Brown with a bounce pass to Slater. 10-foot floater will not fall. Ingram rebounds and scores with the putback, scoring with the right hand from under the goal.
Well, you know, the Mustangs are doing a good job of defending Brown, and that high post shot is open for the opposition for Arkansas Fort Smith, but they don't seem very comfortable shooting it.
Sanders lines one off the back rim. Rebounded by Bush. Bush comes up the right side. Gets it to Anderson. Bush takes it left. Slater between the circles, right to Bush. To the right wing for Brown. The entry pass. Slater has it. Out to Bush, 3 on the shot clock. Bush will have to shoot a three-pointer. No good. Jermaine Carter pulls down the rebound for Midwestern State. Sanders comes up the middle of the floor with a left-hand dribble. Sanders throws an overhead pass to the left wing. Davison shoots from there off the front rim. No good. Slater grabs the rebound for Fort Smith. Gives to Bush in the backcourt. Midwestern State up 5-2. We're nearly 5 minutes into this contest. Slater has it in the left front court. To Bush. Right to Anderson. Anderson one dribble, cross court to Brown. To Slater. To Bush in the left front court on the Gerald Stockton Court logo. Guarded by Pierre Sanders. Pass to Slater, guarded by Davison. Feeds it to Ingram at the foul line. Ingram gets underneath Hamilton and scores with the right hand.
That's the weak part of the zone. Luke needs to stay on the ground, make sure that the opposition shoots over the top of him.
Fort Smith within one. Midwestern State has the ball, leading 5-4 with 14.5 minutes to play. We've not had a dead ball. Sanders moving to the baseline, circles back out, finds Hamilton, who gives to Carter, top the key. Carter faces the basket at the foul line, moving in, gets his arm grabbed. That'll stop the clock with 14:16 to play. Midwestern State with a 5-4 lead. We're early at Lincoln Coliseum. This is Midwestern State trailing Fort Smith 36-35. Fort Smith is a pretty good free throw shooting team, but an exception to that rule is Jackson Ingram, who's just 13 of 34, 38%, and his first free throw tonight is a brick off the front rim, no good.
And, you know, the Mustangs are trying to make, you know, Coach Watson was talking about in the scouting report that Arkansas Fort Smith has movers and blockers. And this guy's clearly a blocker, and they're trying to make the blockers into scorers. And so, you know, Luke fouled, but they got nothing in on that possession.
Ingram misses the second free throw. It caroms to the right, and Uyghur chased down the rebound, and now Uyghur has the ball at the top of the arc, handing the ball off to Sanders. Sanders moving in on Bush is fouled. So a blocking foul called against Bush. That's the third team foul on Fort Smith. Remember, we only had 3 fouls called total in the first half, already 5 here in the second half, and we've not played 5 minutes.
Well, one of the reasons was that the Mustangs shot a lot of threes and didn't take to the ball of the basket very frequently also. So putting your head down and going to the basket like Pierre Sanders just did is a great offensive tool.
Sanders scores his third point. He's also got 4 assists and a rebound tonight. And he's broken the tie by hitting the second free throw, and Midwestern State has the lead. up 37-36. Last lead Midwestern State had was 8-7. Bush has the ball across the timeline on the left side. Bounce pass to Slater, sent right to Anderson. Back to Bush, fronted by Uyghur. Ingram sets the screen. Bush comes left to Slater. Inside pass to Ingram. Hook shot lined off the back rim. Pierre Sanders rebounds. Sanders brings it up, finds Uyghur moving up the right sideline. Uyghur inside the arc, left-hand dribble into the lane. Stops, turns, shoots, scores! John Uyghur gives Midwestern State a 3-point lead with his first 2 points of the game. 39-36 Mustangs.
And Pete, what do I tell you about John Uyghur going left? He's going left to set you up for that right hand just like he did there.
Bush between the circles pushes a right-handed pass to Slater, who hands off to Anderson. Back to Bush. Bush moves inside the arc. He'll shoot the jumper over Uyghur and score. Bush now with 6 points, bringing Fort Smith to within 1. Midwestern with the ball. Carter on the left block to the corner. A three-pointer for Sanders is no good. Carter going over the back of Ingram, trying to get the offensive rebound, is called for the foul. Carter picks up his first, third on Midwestern State. Duncan Olivic is coming into the game, along with Derek Ogechi and Marquise Davison. Sanders comes out. Hamilton coming out of the game. Mason Gibson comes out. Courtney Merle is back into the game for Arkansas Fort Smith. Jermaine Carter coming out and Gibson staying in. Fort Smith going the length of the floor, north to south, wearing navy as the visiting team tonight at Lincoln Coliseum. Brown has the ball on the left sideline to Morrell between the circles. Morrell back to Brown, guarded by Uyghur. Brown on the left wing, throws hard to the left corner, and Anderson hits a three-pointer from there. 41-39. Anderson now with 6 points.
If the role players for Arkansas and Fort Smith make three-pointers, they're going to be tough to beat.
Uyghur has the ball in the right corner. Left-hand dribble into the lane. Spins. Shoots over Brown off the front rim. Cadode Dio gets the rebound for Fort Smith. Gibson defending Morrell. Morrell bounce pass to Cadode Dio. Morrell to Anderson, right wing three-pointer. Off the back rim, rebounded by John Uyghur of Midwestern State. He's up the right side with a right-hand dribble to the arc. Scoots toward the lane. At the foul line, hands off to Davison. Davison scores with the right hand, softly off the glass. We're tied at 41 as Davison scored his 6th point of the game.
Davison did a nice job of taking the ball to the basket, getting it off the glass 6-footer. You can't ask for anything better than that.
12:44 to play in the contest. Fort Smith has the ball in a 41-41 tie. Morrell, left wing three-pointer, no good. Duncan Olivic goes up, and the 6'10 freshman has the rebound for Midwestern State. We're tied for the 7th time tonight, not at 41-41. Mustangs have the ball. We've had 3 lead changes to this point. Davison driving in. Cadode Dio off his feet, commits the foul, putting Davison at the free throw line.
Yeah, in contrast to the last 2 possessions, for Arkansas Fort Smith gets a contested 3 that they miss. The Mustangs, Davison takes the ball to the basket, it gets fouled, going to the free throw line. That's what you want.
Davison has 6 points in this game. Davison coming into the game as the 3rd leading scorer for Midwestern State with better than 10.5 points a contest. He's a 66% free throw shooter. He's got 7 points now, and it's a 1-point lead for Midwestern State. Another free throw coming up for Davison.
Yeah, his mechanics look better than the 66% free throw shooter. I mean, he looks good shooting those.
He's perfect here, and he's given the Mustangs a 2-point lead, 43-41. Morrell comes out of the backcourt. Left of the center circle. Pass to Anderson, back to Morrell. Cadode Dio has it. Back to Morrell. Morrell comes left, out high on the wing, and an offensive foul called. It's Mason Gibson who got planted on the floor. The foul is called on David Akizi. .59 remaining at Ligon Coliseum. Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by Taco Casa, Starbright Cleaners, United Regional, the official healthcare provider of MSU Athletics, and Buffalo Wild Wings. Midwestern State has the ball, leading 43-41. Derek Ogechi hits a mid-range shot from the middle of the lane. He's got 10 points, and Midwestern State has a 4-point lead.
Yeah, it was a really nice set play coming out of that timeout where Ogechi got a screen down and rolled back in the middle for a really nice, easy 10-foot basket.
It's a 6-0 run for Midwestern State. Davison called for a foul at half court. Davison picks up his first personal foul. Fort Smith has the ball. Morrell takes it left, guarded by Davison. Code de Dio between the circles, passes right to Brown, feeds it into Akizi, blocked by Olivak. Battle for the rebound. Akizi has it underneath, travels, and Midwestern State gets the basketball with 11:19 to play, leading 45-41.
Yeah, Olivak's doing a nice job of making his presence known. He doesn't have to block all of them, but just being in there after he's blocked one or two really makes a difference.
Fort Smith hasn't scored in more than 2.5 minutes. Midwestern State's gone on a 6-0 run. Olivak's now got 4 blocks in this game. Down low inside, Marquise Davison scores easily, getting the pass from Jermaine Carter.
Coach Leslie was wanting the flop call, but we still got the basket.
Losing the ball out of bounds is Morrell. Midwestern State up by 6. Will be inbounding the ball with 10:55 to play in the front court between the hash mark and the center stripe. Derek Ogechi will put it in play for the Mustangs. Inbounded to Sanders. Sanders walks across half court in the center circle. The pass comes to the right wing for Ogechi. To Carter between the circles. Around the horn to the left wing for Davison. Davison moving in, stripped of possession. Here comes Bush for Fort Smith. Bush to the foul line, pulls up from the right elbow, misses short, and Ogechi rebounds for Midwestern State. Ogechi will bring it up himself to Carter on the right sideline. Left-hand dribble to the lip of the lane. Throws it out to Ogechi. Ogechi muscling his way to the basket for 2 points. It's an and one for Derek Ogechi. Fouled by Brown.
Again, call me old school, but I thought that was a great possession. Carter had an opportunity to shoot a three-pointer, turned it down. Ogechi got a better shot going to the basket. Now he's going to have an opportunity to make an old-fashioned three-pointer.
You're so old school.
I am old school. I'm old and old school.
And I bet you like 10-0 runs. That's what Midwestern State has over the last 2.5 minutes plus, and Ogechi adds to that, hitting the free throw. The Mustangs have hit 4 straight from the field. Fort Smith has missed 4 in a row, and they trail by 9. Midwestern State leads 50-41 after trailing 31-27 at halftime. They've outscored the Lions 23-10 here in the second half. Slater hits a fall-away jumper from 12 feet out. As we enter the fourth quarter of this game, Midwestern State leads by 7, 50-43. Jermaine Carter at the foul line. Moves in, puts up a shot wide left with the right hand. Slater has it for Fort Smith. Anderson in the backcourt, guarded by Davison. Pushes it up with a left-hand dribble across half court. Back to Slater, right to Bush. Bush to Anderson. Back to Bush. Driving in from the right wing. Bush gets the layup. Fouled by Olivak and has a chance at a three-point play.
Bush is a nice player. He is fast and he's aggressive, and he gets up ahead of steam once he goes to that hole.
So Bush will step up to the free throw line. Olivak comes out of the game. So does Derek Ogechi. Luke Hamilton is back on the floor, along with Mason Gibson for Midwestern State. The Bush free throw on the way is good. Sanders will walk out of the backcourt. Mustangs holding a 4-point lead with 9:20 to play. Sanders at the point. Driving in with the right hand, and he will score.
You know, the last 5 or 6 possessions the Mustangs had, I don't think they've taken a shot outside of 10 feet, and they're making them.
Sanders is now 2 of 5 with 6 points for Midwestern State. And now Carter has a steal. The outlet to Gibson. Gibson drives in. He's fouled. Gibson will be shooting 2 with 8:56 to play. Midwestern State has made 5 of their last 6 shots. What have they done to turn this game around? Because they've turned it around.
Well, again, I'm not against shooting 3-pointers, but I'm very much in favor of taking higher percentage shots. And they've done that, and they've made them, and they've gotten to the free throw line, and you get to the free throw line when you take the ball to the basket also.
And they're 6 of 15 from three-point range.
Exactly.
Gibson misses the free throw. They're 20 of 36 from the field, so they're shooting 56% overall.
And a team that has struggled to score as much as the Mustangs have this year, that can't do anything but improve your confidence when you're scoring.
They're now 7 of 9 at the free throw line as Gibson hits the second one. He's got 5 points after missing the first, but Midwestern State has a 53-46 lead. Gibson is guarding Bush in the left front court. Bush with a yo-yo dribble, then pass to Anderson right. Anderson back to Bush in the left front court. Bush moving into the key, bounce pass right to Anderson, back to Bush. 6 on the shot clock. Bush driving in around Hamilton, off the glass for 2. Bush got 11 points now. Midwestern State leads by 5. Sanders inside the foul line, throws outside to Davison, who drives to the basket. He missed, got his own rebound. The putback goes around the rim and into the hands of Ingram of Fort Smith.
And if I'm not mistaken, that was the first offensive rebound the Mustangs have gotten the entire game.
Bush handles the basketball right in the center circle, passes left to Anderson, to the left sideline for Bush, fronted by Carter. Out to Anderson, been at the waist, holding the ball around his knees. Puts it on the floor with the left hand, a bounce pass inside to Slater. Surrounded by a Stang gang, out to Bush, driving in. Blocking foul called on Davison. Davison called for his second foul. Lions 53-50. Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by Union Square Credit Union, Raising Cane's, and Planet Fitness. Cameron Bush at the free throw line as play resumes. Hits the free throw for Fort Smith. That gives him 14 points and brings UAFS within 2 of Midwestern State. Sanders at the point for the Mustangs. Drives into the lane, a jump pass to Gibson in the key. Gibson backs out, directs traffic with the right, dribbling with the left. Pocket pass to Carter, double team, finds Sanders top of the arc. Right wing to Ogechi. Inside to Hamilton on the right block. Hamilton shooting over Slater, bounces it off the front rim, no good. Carter got spilled on the floor underneath the basket. A foul is called. And the foul's on Carter. Carter picks up his second. 7th team foul will put Ingram at the foul line.
Percentage-wise, that's not a bad play.
Jackson Ingram, less than 38% from the foul line after missing his first 2 tonight, hits this one. He made that one, but it's not a confident-looking stroke.
No, it's not. It does spin, and it has a little arch on it.
He gets both of these. Pierre Sanders will walk it out of the backcourt. We're tied at 53 after Ingram hit both of those free throws. Sanders has it at the top of the arc. Maintaining the dribble, gets the screen from Hamilton, then throws back out to Hamilton for a three-pointer. It's no good. Slater rebounds.
Wide open look for Luke.
Outlet to Bush. Guarded by Gibson. He backs up toward half court. On the right side, throws cross court to Anderson. Anderson feeds it to the foul line for Slater. To Brown on the left sideline, to Anderson, right to Bush. To Ingram at the foul line, moving in. Shooting over Luke Hamilton, no good. Jermaine Carter has the rebound for Midwestern State.
How do you build a strong community? Start with hard work, teamwork, and dedication.
Midwestern State scores on the other end with 6.5 minutes to play. Jermaine Carter has his 10th point. It's an and one.
Again, a nice sequence for the Mustangs, making one of the so-called blockers on Fort Smith shoot, and then on the other end, not settling for the outside shot, taking the ball to the basket, getting a conventional three-point play, we hope.
Off the front rim, no good, but Derek Ogechi rebounds. Missed with the left hand. Fort Smith comes away with the ball. Bush has it. Fort Smith has made 4 of their last 5 shots from the field. They're down by only 2, trailing 55-53 after Midwestern State had taken a 9-point lead. A pass from Ingram is overthrown, and Hamilton intercepts. To Sanders, to Jermaine Carter, driving in, thrown to the right corner. A Gibson three-pointer's off the mark. Carter bats it to Ogechi. His three-pointer, no good. Carter with another rebound. Carter surrounded, throws to the right wing for Hamilton, to Gibson. Overshoots from the right corner. And Brown has it along the left baseline. Fort Smith with possession, down by 2. Gibson guarding Bush, who throws right to Anderson across half court. Timeout, Fort Smith. Things have gotten kind of frantic with 5:48 to play. We're at Ligon Coliseum. Midwestern State, along with Dr. Greg Giddings. 5:48 remaining in the game. Midwestern State holding on to a 2-point lead, up 55-53. But Peyton Brown will be inbounding for Fort Smith opposite the Lion bench as play resumes. Inbounded to Bush, who's guarded by Marquise Davison. Finds Anderson in the left front court, back to Bush. Mustangs playing a 2-3 zone against the Lions. Bounce pass to Brown. Feeds it to the foul line for Akizi. Tried to get it to Slater, but it's taken away by Hamilton. Outlet to Ogechi. Ogechi scoots up the right side. Moves toward the baseline. Turns his back to the defender. Bounces it to Hamilton for a straightaway 3. No good. Davison rebounds and scores.
Been talking about offensive rebounds or the lack thereof all game. That was a huge play by Davidson, getting that one and putting it back.
Davidson's got 12 points now and pushes the Mustang lead to 4 with 5:05 to play. These two teams played 2 one-point games last year. Anderson drives in, misses a banker, and Jermaine Carter's got another rebound. Carter now with 6 boards for Midwestern State to go with 10 points. Ogechi in the left front court. Comes to the right side of the floor. Maintaining the dribble. Gets a bounce pass to the cutter, Gibson, who scores with a layup.
Great cut, great curl, great pass by Carter again. The Mustangs have missed 4 3-pointers in a row. When they go to the basket like this, to me, they're a much better team.
How's that for execution? Justin Leslie was impressed. And Midwestern State leads by 6, 59-53. 7 points now for Gibson. Brown trying to move in. Davison made contact with him and is called for the foul. Davison now has 3 personal fouls. Fort Smith has not scored in nearly 3 minutes as the Mustangs have gone on a 6-0 run. In fact, it's been more than 3 minutes now since Fort Smith last scored, but there's a good chance they'll score now with Brown at the free throw line. He is an 84% free throw shooter, coming in 83 of 99. And he makes this free throw. Another free throw coming up for Brown. Oh, he missed it off the front rim, and Jermaine Carter got the rebound. Carter brings it up himself for the Mustangs. Hands the ball off to Davison, to Sanders. Sanders spinning into the lane is fouled.
And you know what? Where Pierre wasn't exactly going to the basket, the mere fact he's in there and he's a threat allows him to get fouled. And now one of our best free throw shooters is going to the line.
John Wicker checks in for the Mustangs.
Ogechi's going to get a breather here as John Uyghur comes in. It's Pierre Sanders who's at the free throw line looking for his 7th point. Sanders has been about an 83% free throw shooter. Leaves it long. It gets batted up in the air by Anderson, who grabs it with 4:05 to play. Midwestern State leading by 5. Fort Smith with the basketball. Slater in the left front court. Gets the ball to Anderson. Ingram setting a high screen on the right wing. Anderson with a bounce pass to Slater. Foul line jumper good. 3-point lead for Midwestern State, up 59-56.
Slater's made a believer of me when it comes to that free throw line shot. He's done a nice job this evening making that.
Slater's got 9 points. Uyghur in the lane. Bounce pass down low to Davidson. Trapped under the basket. Twirls and scores off the glass.
There was some high degree of difficulty on that one. Great finish by Davidson.
It was kind of in no man's land there between the baseline and the rim, but somehow he wedged out enough room to get a high banker to go through. Bush drives into the lane. Mid-range jumper good. The lead is cut to 3 as Bush scores his 16th. Midwestern State up 61-58 with the ball and 3:05 to play. Sanders into the front court. Sanders. He'll shoot a mid-range jumper, and that's spot on for Pierre Sanders. He's got 8 points now on 3 of 6 shooting. Midwestern State up by 5 again, 63-58, 2:44 remaining. Bush at the Gerald Stockton Court logo on the left side. Gets it between the circles to Slayton. Right to Anderson, back to Bush. Bush moving inside the arc, a step back, leaning in, drawing the contact from Sanders as he puts up a shot. Bush has earned a trip to the free throw line as Sanders has been called for his second personal foul. Mustangs have made 63-58. Midwestern State outscoring UAFS 36-27 here in the second half. Bush, who has 16 points, is 2 of 2 at the free throw line tonight. Make it 3 of 3 as play resumes. Bush has cut the deficit to 4 for the Lions. Bush, a 6'1" junior from Little Rock. Makes both free throws. He's been really good in the second half.
Absolutely. Bush is just a darn good college basketball player. Competes, plays hard.
Pierre Sanders walks up the middle of the floor, picked up by Bush at the top of the arc. Pass goes left to Ogechi. Bounce pass to Carter, double teamed on the left block. Out to Hamilton to the right wing for Sanders. Three-pointer good for Pierre Sanders. He's got 11. Now 1 of 3 from beyond the arc.
That was a huge shot by Sanders. I'm really not understanding why Fort Smith is doubling the post, but it ended up giving the Mustangs a wide open look at 3.
That's 5 straight field goals now for the Mustangs. Fort Smith down by 6 with the ball. Anderson with the bounce pass inside to Ingram. Lowered his shoulder into Luke Hamilton, and it's called for the offensive foul. Hamilton was outside the restricted area, took a shoulder to the chest, went to the ground, and Midwestern State has the ball.
Boone didn't complain much.
No, I was going to say Jim Boone did not seem that upset. I think he was just happy they looked.
Yeah, so I'm assuming that Luke was outside the restricted area.
Sanders walking it across half court. Mustangs lead by 6. There's only 1:40 remaining.
The problem with this situation here is yes, you want to work clock, but you still want to get a good shot.
Well, and a field goal here may just about put this one in the lockbox for Midwestern State. Sanders at the top of the key, moving in 3 on the shot clock. Pierre Sanders scores!
Boy, there was some degree of difficulty on that one. Also, Sanders falling away to his left and just drains it. That was huge.
Sanders with 13 points on 5 of 8 shooting. Slater at the foul line. Lines it off the back rim, and Pierre Sanders has the rebound, his 3rd of the game. Less than a minute to go, and Sanders will walk it out of the back court for the Mustangs, who have an 8-point lead. Ogechi has it in the right front court. Bounce pass to Sanders. Sanders holding the ball. 9 on the shot clock. Sanders driving to the left elbow toward the baseline. Another fall away shot. This one off the front rim, no good. Bush has the rebound. Bush coming out of the back court with a right hand dribble. Gets to the top of the arc. Pass to Slater in the corner. And Brown misses the 3-pointer. Sanders can't control the rebound. Bush has it, weaves toward the basket, scores with a right-handed layup. Boone calls a timeout with 13.9 seconds to play after Bush scores his 20th point and brings Fort Smith to within 6. 68th in the league in the LSC in rebounding. Now, you had a good explanation for that.
And I went and looked it up. They do out rebound their opponents by about 1.5, so they're slightly better than average rebounding team.
Hamilton running the baseline. Got to get it inbounded with the count on, and before it reaches 5, Hamilton calls timeout. 13.9 seconds remaining. Midwestern State with a 68-62. Midwestern State leading Fort Smith 68-62. First of 4 straight at home for the Mustangs, who are on the verge of winning their 5th straight home game.
I wish the Mustangs just throw this over the top. They're going to deny the ball, throw it over the top.
Hamilton gets it to Ogechi. Ogechi's fouled in the backcourt with 11.9 seconds remaining. The foul is called on Daryl McElrath, who's come back into the game for Fort Smith. That's going to put Derek Ogechi at the free throw line. Justin Leslie calls Derek Ogechi the best free throw shooter for Midwestern State. And the right-hander hits nothing but net. Statistically, Pierre Sanders is the best free throw shooter.
You know how I like numbers, Pete? The Mustangs are shooting 62.5% on their 2-pointers for the game. If you shoot that well, you get a good chance of winning. They're shooting decent from the 3-point line at 33%, but their other shots they're shooting really well.
And Derek Ogechi shooting really well here in the second half. Hits both of these free throws. That gives him 15 points.
Ogechi's little mini run that he made by himself in the second half was really important, making those 2 3-pointers back-to-back.
Ogechi getting 13 of his 15 in the second half. Bush drives in, misses the layup. It's batted up in the air. Carter grabs it. 3 seconds left. Time runs out. Midwestern State wins. The Mustangs down Fort Smith 70-62, overcoming a 4-point halftime deficit, shooting 51%, holding